Okay, so for the next part, it's just cutting out a lot of the little buttons and stuff that goes in her saber. So this is it's 6 millimeter craft foam, which you can get at the store for like $1.90. So what I did already is I kind of drew out all the pieces that I'll need on this foam set for both of the sabers. So this is a toy one I have. This is actually going to be made out of popsicle sticks. So what we're gonna do is cut off a half an inch off the top, and then it just kind of goes up here. Yeah, so that way it sticks and it won't like fall off. You can't really see it on these ones because they're not 100% accurate, but there's going to be a little like sort of like buttons things. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut this out. This is going to be somewhat shorter foam, so the 0.25, 0.75. They're going to be like 5. I think there might be 6 on there, but they're 5. And this is going to be, let me check. 0.75 inches long and a 1/4 inch wide. So as you can see, it's like 1/4 inch, 0.75. And then what you want to do is on one side, make little holes in them. So what you just do is you just take the needle and you just sort of poke it through, and I just pull it all the way through, and that way it's like a decent sized hole. Yeah. So I already did the one for the short saber. I don't know if you can see that, but there are little tiny holes on that. And so these will each be cut and then glued on top of the larger one here. So it makes a bunch of little bars. Okay? Find some way to cut the plastic sticks for the little edges of the large saber, and for some reason my X-Acto knife and scissors won't do it, so I'm going to try with the Dremel. Hopefully it doesn't explode. That worked, but I smelled a bit of fire, so if you guys do this, be careful so you don't light anything on fire. Another thing I want to try is to cut the foam, because I was cutting the foam out, and for some reason, it's like, since it's so thick, it's really hard to cut it in a straight line. So I'm going to try using the Dremel, but I don't know if that will work. Okay, so next I have a piece of 2 millimeter craft foam, and it's 1/4 inch by about 5 1/4 inch, and I need to glue it on the bottom of the large one with hot glue. So this is going to get glued here, and then afterwards I have these washers for the PVC pipe, and this is going to basically just go on the bottom of both of them. I forgot to mention some of the trouble I had with the glue. So for this one, I did the epoxy the first time with the little bottle that I had on here, but after that, I think I mentioned that I broke the epoxy bottle and it glued. So I tried to like kind of squeeze it and push it together and mix it as I put it on the glue thing, but that didn't work. And so I also tried Gorilla Glue, which also didn't work. So eventually what I have now is E6000, and so I'm hoping that this is going to stick. I also ended up having to kind of sand the edges of the PVC pipe at the bottom where the cap will go, just because I found that probably part of the reason why it was breaking was because the cap was so tight. Also something that I did is I ended up rounding the edges here a little bit more, just because that's how her sabers look. And so the next part is really just gluing all the buttons on. So I'll be doing that with the glue. I have my buttons here. I made the circles a little bit better using the Dremel. So. Alright, so even though in the tutorial it had that piece of foam there, I actually found that when I did that, this was too small, and the button that had to go on here, it just didn't fit. So I just kind of scratched off in the sand and cut off that foam, and so I'm going to try doing it without that piece of craft foam here and hope that it works. I've come to a very sad realization. The reason why the little thing didn't fit and why the measurements haven't working, my pipe is not exactly shaped the right way. This part here is supposed to be way larger. So what is supposed to happen is that this is supposed to go all the way down here. So this is just not going to be the right size. So at this point, it's just not going to be perfect, which is really sad. Okay, so I don't like just settling for them to be imperfect. So instead what I'm going to do is, I think, hopefully this will work, taking duct tape and wrapping it around the part that should be too large. That should give it, because it really only has to be like another millimeter thick, and that way I should be able to make the whole thing a bit longer so it should look more screen accurate. So hopefully this won't get stuck together. This is black duct tape, I think, but theoretically any kind of tape would work. This is just nicer than normal duct tape because it's a little thicker. And I think I want it to be like an inch. So I'm gonna have to cut it. It's really hard to cut sticky things though. Okay, so I added some duct tape here, and now it looks like it's about level so that instead of having the little, I don't know, lip here, it should be down here. This is actually supposed to be straight, so there isn't actually supposed to be like a indentation here, but I can't really see any way to fix that, minus just like sanding the whole thing down or straighten over, so I'm just going to leave this one, I think. And so now I'm going to try again gluing all the little pieces on together, and you won't be able to see the black because I'm obviously going to paint the whole thing. All right, so last, for this one at least, is these guys need to go here. Because that's probably going to run into things. I think on this one I'm going to use the epoxy because I don't want to have to keep having the problem of them falling off and having to cut new ones all the time. Also. Okay, time for the Lightsaber. I'm just going to glue things on and pretend like this little bump doesn't exist. Okay, so I went outside and I sanded away a little bit of this because I wanted it to kind of have the curved ball shape for the end of her hilts. And then what I'm going to do is just kind of glue 6 of these little squares onto the cap. And these are a 1/2 inch by a 1/2 inch each. Okay, so it looks like that's kind of all the pieces, basically. I have the lightsaber here. It actually looks like a decent lightsaber now. And then this one, that is just drying. So here are the final sabers. I'm so excited that I'm still in my pajamas because I just wanted to put them together.